All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be speaking to an individual set to compete at Oktagon 74, which goes down on August 9th, and a very intriguing fight with Marek Mazuch in the middleweight ranks, and we have Krzysztof Jotko back on Bowks Talking Bouts to cover several subjects. How's it going, though, man? You having a solid day so far?
Hey, how are you? How are you, everyone? Yes, I just yesterday coming to Germany. I landed in Europe. So I already after the first training here, I try to acclimatize myself, get some training, lose the weight, and of course, gonna win this fight.
And how much, if at all, did you have to alter, I guess, your approach to this fight with the, previous bout being against Vlasto Cepo, but Cepo falling out due to an injury? Like, are there a great deal of, different considerations you have to bring to the table for Marek Mazuch here as you kind of,
No, really. Mazuch and Cepo is, like, you can say, similar opponents. They're just brawlers with a good boxing, strong, with a good boxing, and the same is with the Mazuch. Only one difference is Mazuch is different position is a southpaw. So this actually is very, very good because my friend Josh Silveira, he was the preparer for the fight with Fabian Edwards. So I was training with him for 8 weeks before I even started my training camp. So I trained with southpaw for a long time, and this was even better for me, because I know the southpaw game a little better right now.
So it almost worked out in your favor in a certain regard.
Yeah, I think it's even better, better opponents. I think Cepo was more experienced, he have more fights, and I think his opponents was a little better, like Mazuch, because if you check the first 6 fight of Mazuch, he fight tomato cans and some bullshit guys, so this is what it is. I fight little different people in my career and in the UFC and everywhere, so we're gonna we're gonna find out on August 9th.
Yeah, it must feel good being in the quarterfinals of the Tip Sport Game Changer tournament as well. Obviously more questions to, center on this, matchup you have here and stuff like that, but it must be cool to have, advanced within this big tournament and everything like that, just considering the quality of competitors in the field and the cash prize on the line and all that.
This was a question?
No, I'm just saying you're probably in, a good sort of, headspace right now and just where you're at in your career and everything, just advancing in the tournament.
I tell you this, I'll be honest with you. I'm actually after divorce. I have a divorce this year with my ex-wife, so now I'm super good place. I'm very happy to do this sport again. I'm very happy to come yesterday for training, and I can't even wait to fight this guy. My mood is changed. Everything changed. I'm very happy now, and I'm very, very ready for this. I need these wins. I need win this tournament. I was in the UFC for a long time, and I don't get the title. So before I finish my career, I'm gonna get this title. It's just gonna be probably Octagon title.
Yeah, you have such a history, at least in the past, and I was going to even kind of touch on that with you to see if it's still the case. But, you talk about championship accolades and just your history at American Top Team. So many champions from that space, even in terms of current title holders like Alexandre Pantoja, Kayla Harrison, never mind all the people who've held titles before. So, yeah, I guess presuming you're still training at ATT, it'd be cool to bring an Octagon title there at some point, I would think.
Yeah, he's Richie, the manager, and also Dan Lambert. They say is empty space for my belt and empty space for my picture on the gym with the belt. So I'm gonna bring this belt to them and bring this title in a nice picture with the belt and my team.
Yeah, and it is an interesting sort of situation there because I'd be curious to get your insights on this. I saw you getting in some sparring rounds with Bo Nickel, like not recently per se, but there was a post, I guess, like a couple years ago, and it looks like he's kind of faced like a minor setback, at least in as far as that loss to...
The Bo Nickel, he's actually right now in the gym. I train with him a couple of times. I don't sparring him because he have like some people to spar with him, but I train with actually this time in the American top team was bunch of like super good people, a lot of Russian, Rasul, who is like an Olympic wrestler, Johnny Eblin was prepared, Marcus Almeida Buchecha, the 14 times Jiu-Jitsu champion, Marvin Vettori, Abus Magomedov, Ikram Askerov. No, super was amazing training camp and amazing people to train. The train was so hard and so good. So I'm really don't care about my opponent.
And you mentioned Marvin Vettori there, and I mean, a former opponent of yours was Brendan Allen, and those two fought at UFC 318. Like, what were your, I guess, thoughts on that fight at 318 with Allen and Vettori?
Yeah, we hate Brendan Allen, and it's not only because I lose the fight. I lose this fight fighting with him with myself because I just was angry and I just want to kill him, and I just let my emotion go there, and I just lose. And we was ready for Marvin. We was think like he was very good training camp, and a lot of shit happens in his life. His brother died, so I knew it was gonna be very hard to go even for this fight. But no, he get good fight. The fight was fight of the night. Good fight. It was close fight, and but no, he lose the fight. But no, it's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's even like when you mentioned with Johnny Eblin too, like just in the sense of like, yeah, in that very small binary of a win or a loss, it didn't necessarily go his way, but I think there's a lot of growth to be found in these different moments and everything like that, just speaking to his, comeback defeat to Costello Van Steenis at PFL Africa 1 and everything like that.
Yeah, this was, I think, the upset and big surprise on the year Johnny Eblin lose, He was winning out the fight, and 20 seconds before the fight is done, he lose. So this is the MMA, this is the sport. One mistake, and in the highest level, like John is fighting, one mistake is a down, is a finish.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I kind of touched on it in, I guess, a bit of a cursory way before, but just curious to get your thoughts on just the Oktagon debut that you had and everything. Just, yeah, it would seem like everything kind of fell into place in as far as like having an ideal debut effort there and everything. Just that win over Iwan Surdu, who is the welterweight champion and was coming up to try to, make a run at middleweight, and it seemed like you really neutralized a lot of aspects of his game. So I guess what were your main takeaways from your performance there at Oktagon 70 in April?
Yeah, I can say I control all the fight. I just mad about myself, and I was working so hard, and I do my homework lesson because I got to do the second round with the rear naked choke. And if I really know how to do this rear naked choke, like the very good, I will finish him with this time. But I just make a lot of mistake going for this choke, and when I just coming back to Florida, I asked my friend, like I told you, Jiu-Jitsu champion, Buchecha, Marcus Almeida, and he was working with me like 2-3 weeks, just take just the chokes, the perfect mataleo, and a lot of different aspects for chokes. So this time, I can promise you, if we're gonna be in this situation where I've been in Surdu, I'm gonna finish this guy and I'm gonna choke him out.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're looking to refine that submission game, I feel like there's few people better than someone like Buchecha, right?
Yeah, Buchecha is the best, if you wanna ask somebody of help from jiu-jitsu or like a grunt work, you don't have a better guy to ask. If he don't help you, I don't know who can help you.
Yeah, he's so incredibly accomplished and super nice guy too. I've had the privilege of speaking to him a few times over the years, and
nice. Yeah, he's a very nice guy, and he's gonna fight this weekend with the UFC. He signed a debut in the UFC. He's gonna fight with some Buddhist, some guy. And if this guy come to the ground, there's gonna be submission, 100%. Because people from the heavyweights, I don't think they have a good grappling like Marcus Buchecha has. They're good, powerful, good stand-up, but not everybody have a good ground. And Marcus Buchecha is one of the best of them in the heavyweights.
yeah, I mean, he's so talented. What do you think his ceiling could be in the UFC's heavyweight division? Like, what could you see him accomplishing within the UFC's heavyweight ranks? 'Cause I feel like he's a signing that so many people are understandably excited about there.
Yes, he is a new in MMA. He don't have a lot of fights, so I will don't try to push him too much in the beginning. Let him work a little bit more of stand up and wrestling, and then I can tell more about. I don't want to tell, he's good, he's this, like Bo Nika was saying, and then he gets middle guy, not even super good, and he get knocked down. So it's the MMA, jiu-jitsu. You don't forget it. We can't forget it. We start from the stand-up, so striking is very important there.
Yeah, just interesting to see him involved in the UFC. I think it's definitely an intriguing signing for sure. And just, yeah, it's still cool to see you, I guess, I guess this is maybe like a bit of like a fight nerd kind of thing, but it's cool to see you like still so high up in the UFC's takedown defense percentiles. Like I did see at one point you were even number 1, I guess a few years ago, but the fact that you're still in the top 10 there with, takedown defense among middleweight fighters, I think that says something. Is that something that's a particular point of pride for you, like still being within that, top 10 of, middleweight fighters who've exhibited great takedown defense throughout UFC history?
This give me like a mental confidence. Like I know now, like I can risk every kicks and everything what I want, and I know if they're gonna take me down, I know I'm gonna get up and maybe he not even take me down. So I have like a different confidence now. Like I can use all my weapons and don't be scared about takedown because I know I'm gonna get up and I know he's gonna have very, very big problem to take me down. So I'm good. I feel really, really good for this fight, and this cash gonna be in my pocket.
Yeah, no, it's quite the cash prize, and I guess partly why I referenced that statistic was the person who currently is in the number 1 spot is Roman Kopylov, who you were supposed to have a fight with circa April 2019 until he had an injury per Tapology, and I guess I wanted to tie that into, I guess, more UFC 318 related fights, just with Kopylov fighting Paulo Costa, and just, yeah, curious if you had any thoughts on that particular fight there.
No, I think that Costa was in amazing shape to this fight, and he nice played Kopylov. He almost finished him. I see this fight really good. So I think the Costa was in really shape and really have a really good day on this day of fight.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like more of a return to form for him. So yeah, definitely, quality to see that for sure. And even, I guess, speaking to the people in the headliners, like you have certain connections to both of those individuals. Like you beat Marc-Andre Barriol on a Holloway undercard, that UFC 240 event. And I also saw you competed on that first Poirier versus Gaethje event. So yeah, what did you think about the Poirier versus Holloway trilogy that headlined UFC 318 there?
Yeah, this was, we were hanging out with Dustin for this fight. He was here in Florida for Alcam. He was so excited for this fight. He do everything what he can do the best. And the results is what it is, but fight was good. It was like 3 or 4 knockdown there. so I think it was a good war for the end of his career. He still is good, even if he don't win this fight,
Yeah, great effort and just such a legendary fighter. Did you, I guess, feel good about the send-off that they gave him just with the, I guess, like, hype packages and just stuff like that and whatnot? It seemed like a good way to, I guess, have someone kind of ride off into the sunset, in a sense, just as far as, like, the promotion, putting that spotlight on him and all that.
Yeah, that's been Poirier is long time on the sport, And of course, we fighters, like anyone, he have a lot of injury, he do this. He have 35 years old, and I think it's the perfect moment for him to finish career, so he don't, like he said, he don't want to get beat up from some new people, the new generation people come there fresh with less miles and just beat him up for the end of the career. This is not good, Like a couple people do this in John Hendricks, Anderson Silva, a lot of people who get smashed before they finish the career. And I think this was the perfect for Dustin, perfect decision.
Yeah, well said, man. Definitely agree with you. And earlier you were talking about the quality of competition you've fought and how that's going to behoove you through this tournament you're in here. And I guess one of the bigger fights you had in the UFC was against Sean Strickland. And I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about that recent incident with him, being a corner person in Nevada and then kind of storming the cage and the subsequent suspension, which I believe is an indefinite suspension in the state of Nevada. So yeah, just curious to get your thoughts on that if you happen to see that with Strickland.
Yeah, I saw this, yeah. Yeah, when I was fighting with the Strickland, I was not 100%. I was a little sick. Not little, I was actually very sick with my stomach. I was vomit a lot, and I have acid reflux. I can eat too much. So I was not in a good shape fighting with him. And I lose the decision, but, I don't want to say it's an excuse or something. Maybe I lose the same if I'm in a good shape. But at least he don't knock me out like 5 people before. So this was good. And after my fight, a couple months later, Strickland, he come to our gym because he have a fight with Alex Pereira. So he come down to our gym, train with Artem Levin. Artem Levin, he was like a kickboxer, glory champion. He beat Alex Pereira, I think, 2 times. So Strickland come there and train with us a little bit, train with him, and he's really, really funny guy. And this shit what he talk in the internet is he not lying. This what it is. He's like this, and of course this accident is gonna happen if someone throws some dick or whatever it was happens there in this cage to Strickland. You know what I mean? He's crazy. Of course he's gonna go jump on you. And I think they suspended him. I think was good. You can't do this. It's in TV or whatever, and you can't just go there and try to beat up someone. But I need to say he was very funny, very funny when he get up and walk there. He walked like a old motherfucker, Yeah, Moicano even Renato Moicano. He was talking about this in his podcast. He was so funny. He get up and he was walking like his leg hurts or something. You know what I'm talking about? The moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's interesting you mentioned the name of Alex Pereira because I was kind of going through your Twitter and I saw something that I thought was kind of interesting because you were talking about how, I guess, circa February 2022, you agreed to fight Pereira, and then you were talking about how, he's running scared, and he ended up fighting Bruno Silva, I think, towards the tail end of 2021. I guess in kind of saying all that, I saw they recently announced that rematch with Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. Do you think that fight in the sequel plays out any differently than the first fight, or kind of more so a repeat of what we already saw with that, you think?
This fight gonna play the same like the last fight, I think Alex to make the money, he have his moments, and now I think it's Ankalaev moments, the moment change. Yes, I have offered fight to Alex. I think it was the second fight of Alex. in the UFC. I have an offer to fight him for like a 6-8 weeks short notice. But I agree, I want to fight him, but eventually he canceled this fight and he chose different opponents, because he said my fight with him, me fighting him gonna be boring, but I don't know if it's gonna be boring. I think for his second fight, he was not that experienced in the wrestling, and I will looking for my best in the wrestling. I will try to take him down and try to choke him or maybe break him on the ground and pound. So so I don't know how this fight will happen. That never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just curious to see that kind of stuff, just like what ends up happening with people's journeys and stuff like that. And I guess this is kind of just where my brain went in talking about that, because you were discussing, I guess, the lack of wrestling in his game at that particular juncture. Do you think in his Ankalaev fight, like at least in terms of the anti-wrestling and being defensive about it, and I guess you'd be good to ask considering that, great takedown defense statistic I mentioned before, like at least in like a wrestling kind of vein, like do you think Pereira has shown marked improvement in his wrestling game, like at least in as far as like using it to keep it standing and within his wheelhouse, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think of course he improved his wrestling. He trained with Textera, and 100% he improved his wrestling. But I don't know, you can improve your wrestling that short time, like very good. You know what I mean? Some people train wrestling for a long, long time. Like Ankalaev, probably he's trained wrestling the same like Pereira kickboxing, or even he trained from like 4 years, 5 years old, So I think it's different. The same is for me. It's different when I train with people who are wrestlers or I train with people who learn wrestling. You know what I mean? There's a big difference, because if I train with Johnny Evans and he grab me, I feel his power and I feel how good he is. And if somebody grab me who is just learn the wrestling, it's a little different. I feel completely different.
And I know you're hyper focused on this Tip Sport Game Changer tournament, like when you were describing earlier how you were gonna, line them pockets, like keep the cash there kind of thing. But if you get your ideal outcome and emerge victorious from this Tip Sport Game Changer tournament, do you think we're finally gonna get that fight with Will Fleury, considering he's an Octagon champion?
Yeah, I see a lot of nice fights there for me. I can fight the Muradov if I win the Game Changer. I can fight with the Muradov, or I can fight with the Will Fleury rematch. Yeah, I have a lot of opportunity in this organization, and I really like the Octagon. It's a really nice show.
It seems like they're doing such incredible things, like some of the, I guess, production they have, the quality of fighters, the attendance rates they're putting up. It seems like they're just really firing off on all cylinders, and it seems like they keep growing. So I imagine being a fighter within the Octagon roster, I think that would be exciting for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, Octagon growing. They're doing the 50, 60,000 people events, and it's a nice show. Like a UFC, it's more like a fights, and here is like a show, a lot of lights, fire, everything. It's really good, and I think in Octagon make much bigger events like UFC do it. They do it in a Frankfurt Stadium for like 60,000 people, and I think this is the record on the world. They make the best fights with the best people, like a lot of people there,
Yeah, it's a great roster, man, and you fit very well within that, considering the wealth of experience you have that we, kind of touched on throughout this interview. But in talking about that and in kind of looking at the time, Krzysztof, I do want to be mindful of your schedule and everything. So is there a final thought you might want to add as we're kind of wrapping up here? I do appreciate you making the time to talk today on Bowks Talking Bouts.
Yeah, thank you everyone for support. Thank you my sponsor, my team, American Top Team and Planet Eater. Of course, my brother, Peter Sobota, and I invite everyone 9 August for my second fight in the Octagon. And I promise you guys, the fight gonna be fire, and I'm gonna finish the fight faster, like 3 rounds.
It's going to be a very interesting fight against Marek Mazuch, and just great adaptability switching from, Cepo and everything like that. I'm certainly excited for Oktagon 74, and I'll be tuning in on August 9th, man. But again, all the best with the remainder of your preparations, and thank you for the time on Bowks Talking Bouts today. You have a good rest of your day there, Krzysztof.
Thank you so much, my friend, and let's talk after I win.
Yeah, definitely would love to have you on the show again, man. So we'll have to, sort that out for sure. But yeah, thanks again for the time, and you have a great day, man. Thank you.
Thank you.